New arrest in multiple jewelry store burglaries, all tied to one group of foreign nationals who might have been involved in other thefts as well.
Police say that they arrested the suspects in the middle of another heist.
So, as America's largest sanctuary state implodes, foreign criminal gangs are pillaging businesses, totally wiping out the prosperity of legal residents who are helpless and cannot stop these criminals. Yet while this is happening, local activists would rather continue blocking freeways and harassing federal agents hoping ICE will leave their state. But as you're about to see, ICE can't do that because their job is far from finished.
They strike in the middle of the night. The surveillance video shows one thief slithering his way across the floor before cleaning out an entire jewelry shop next door. The burglars cut their way through a wall from the neighboring candy store.
Across Los Angeles County, demonstrators are using noise to drive out immigration agents. The campaign is called No Sleep for ICE. The goal, keep ICE officers up all night and pressure hotels to kick them out.
A ring of professional thieves has been targeting jewelry stores across LA County, hitting locations in Los Angeles, Encino, and in this case, Glendale.
This is my safe one. That was safe number 3. They blowtorched that one.
The recent rash of flawlessly executed jewelry store burglaries now has the attention of the FBI. As ABC News has learned, the feds are now helping local authorities investigate similar thefts to see if they're in any way related.
Protesters also got word that ICE agents were staying at the embassy suites in Downey after multiple raids in that city. The crowd there playing loud music and trumpets, dozens of them, police eventually moving in.
Now, the Glendale Police Department says all of these are foreign nationals. They believe that they are involved in similar crimes in both this country and their country of origin where they all came from.
So while California riots, you've got criminals like this pulling off multi-million-dollar heists. And what nobody's talking about is this sort of thing is becoming increasingly more common while activists and rioters are attacking the very law enforcement agency that could put a stop to it. And while law-abiding business owners remain helpless on the sidelines, the outrage machine is in full swing, blocking roads and harassing the hotels housing federal employees who may or may not be connected to immigration enforcement. Yet 0 people are out there protesting America's formerly open border, which has apparently blessed us with more criminals than we're able to track down and arrest. And even though not every jewelry store robbery is connected to foreign criminals, the fact that foreign criminals have come here specifically to do their thing is incredibly frightening. But what's potentially even more frightening is the people of this once great state look like they care more about criminals than they do law enforcement. And instead of securing their neighborhoods against the real enemies who are out there destroying businesses and stealing away their prosperity, they would rather holler and shout at the good guys who are there to help but aren't allowed to. Even though just the other day they took down a smuggling ring that helped import Iranian national security threats to the very backyards of these activists. And that brings us to the real reason you've got these professional thieves totally ransacking businesses. If you're a criminal, doesn't it make sense to go to a place where criminals are protected? Protected by local activists who are willing to throw themselves at the very federal agents who could be looking for you. On top of that, even if you get arrested, the local jails won't turn you over to ICE either, and their objective is to release you back into the community without issue, where these criminals get a second opportunity to live out their twisted version of the American dream.
These thieves were good, almost too good, to the point investigators now wondering if this is a group of professionals making the rounds in LA. The burglars cut their way through a wall from the neighboring candy store, a clear sign to the owners they were no amateurs.
These guys were calm, calculated career criminals.
So you've got criminals who learned how to commit crime somewhere else and then brought all of their talents here and are now expending those talents upon legitimate businesses. And the local police that took these guys down have confirmed that their crimes took place not just in America, but in other foreign countries, making these guys international fugitives. Yet for some reason, nobody seems to be upset about this at all. And as you're about to see, the locals in these places are so busy attacking law enforcement that they have no idea a criminal underworld is destroying the place they say they care about.
Morning, we're just outside the DoubleTree where we saw protesters get broken up by police moving in. It started off peaceful, and I want to show you what we can see here. Some of the damage. There's graffiti on some of the property here. Again, this started off as peaceful, but into the night.
Telling me that twice.
At one point, a window was broken. Several cars here in the parking lot were damaged around 11 p.m.
Honestly to God, we weren't doing anything wrong. We were just keeping it peaceful, and
I believe you.
You know, they gave us a warning, and we backed off like they said. And out of nowhere, there was like a group of police people just coming out from the left and right, like charging at us. We kind of have like this app that tells us where ICE is gonna be or where a protest is gonna be. And we all just look out for each other. It's like it's a big...
Okay, so you have non-peaceful protesters who've drawn an entire town's police force to their location, and they're all coordinating with an app that tells them where ICE might be. And it's ICE who could be out there arresting these foreign fugitives who are destroying the neighborhood these people claim they're protecting. Yet these people are out all night into the wee hours of the morning screaming at hotels and bombing them with fake reviews, apparently, all just to get the federal government out of these places, which I'm sure employ legal immigrants as well. Yet these quote-unquote peaceful protesters, who won't stop telling us how peaceful they are, they don't even care if they take down a business which employs the very community they say they're out there defending.
This time in Glendale, thieves cut their way through the roof to enter this jewelry store. Just like in Simi, these burglars disabled the security system and shut off the cameras.
We did not get a signal that the alarm went off. I don't know why.
Owner Minail Bidrusian thought his business was fortified because he had already added every reasonable form of protection.
I've always asked the alarm company, what else can I do? They're like, just get a shotgun sitting there. Because I had the alarm system, front, back, cameras, sensors, motions, I don't know what else to do.
The recent rash of flawlessly executed jewelry store burglaries now has the attention of the FBI.
So these jewelry stores are getting totally wiped out, even though the owners are doing everything they possibly can to make sure this doesn't happen, yet it's still happening. And that's the most depressing thing about this. The government is totally on the side of criminals here, which is why the Department of Homeland Security has decided to stop sending criminals they arrest who might be facing charges in a sanctuary city back to that sanctuary city. They know these people are going to get released because these places, in addition to being sanctuaries, they've also got a soft on crime justice system that helps local criminals as well who might even be involved in some of these heists. And while this is all happening, you've got these anti-ICE activists drawing the police away from crimes like this. Look at all these police cars.
Protesters also got word that ICE agents were staying at the embassy suites in Downey after multiple raids in that city. The crowd there playing loud music and trumpets, dozens of them. Police eventually moving in to clear some of those demonstrators off the property around 2 a.m., but it remained peaceful overnight. And in Glendale, a group of more than 100 protesters gathering at the Hilton.
Glendale, that's the same part of California where police arrested these 7 criminals. Can you believe that? The same police force that's out there tracking down these fugitives can't do it fast enough because they got protesters to deal with. Those protesters are literally protecting the very criminals ICE is here to stop. Plus, they're handicapping their own police who they want to do all the law enforcement in their city, and everyone who's law-abiding is paying for it, while the prosperity of this once great community is just being sucked out of it. At the same time, you've got criminals all over the place laughing all the way to pawn shops where they offload this stolen jewelry.
As ABC News has learned, the feds are now helping local authorities investigate similar thefts to see if they're in any way related, including this April incident in downtown LA where you never see the burglars on video, you only hear the saws they use to cut their way through a wall. The security system here was also disabled, and there's another similarity we learned from talking to all 3 business owners. They all had gold, whether in bullion, bars, or scrap, kept in safes, which were all breached.
They took everything in my safe, everything. I have nothing left.
Millions of dollars worth of valuables stolen, leaving each mom and pop store to start from scratch, and investigators wondering if there's a crew of professionals strategically hitting jewelers across Southern California.
Well, we now know that there is a crew which was just busted, probably multiple crews, because after these guys got busted, this heist right here that you're seeing on the screen took place. These criminals are all wearing masks. They could be just about anybody, but lawlessness has allowed professional thieves to just totally destroy businesses. These guys are getting rich now, and pretty soon the entire place is going to be finished. Nobody's going to be able to have a business here. And a lot of these businesses, they can't even get insurance because the crime that they're facing is so high. They can secure these places, they can put bars on the windows, they can get alarms, but none of that seems to keep these professional criminals out of their stores. And part of the reason for that is you can see that these thieves were using a jamming device. Now, what that'll do is it'll shut down radio signals that might go to a Wi-Fi security system. But the owners of some of these places weren't using Wi-Fi. They had wired connections. And what did the thieves do? Allegedly, they cut cables in the street out in front of some of these businesses, disabling internet access for several blocks. And what are you supposed to do? These businesses did everything, but what this reveals is they're only as safe as their government lets them be. And look at what these local governments are willing to put up with.
Depot to do something about immigration raids that are happening on their properties. Now, some of those groups, they rallied at a Home Depot on Slauson and Western. This is in South Los Angeles today, demanding the company order agents off their private property for weeks now. Federal agents have been rounding up people in store parking lots and detaining them. In some cases, as you see there, even chasing them down.
So here you've got activists that have decided that they'll go to a business and they'll protest and they'll get as much media attention as they can, but only if that business is a place that just so happens to get raided from time to time by federal agents looking for dangerous criminals. And instead of being happy that the federal government is tracking down people who might have horrendous arrest records elsewhere in the world in these parking lots, activists just want the feds to leave as fast as they can. They don't want them anywhere near businesses. And if local activists enable criminals to have so-called safe spaces, what do you think that's going to do to these places? These places are going to become so dangerous, nobody's going to want to go in. And it's not like Home Depot can control what or where or how federal agents operate, especially when they've got a target that they're after and they're on an actual enforcement operation. They're not just browsing parking lots, seeing who they can pick up.
We demand that the Home Depot voice public opposition to Trump's violent assault, kidnappings, and deportations of workers and indigenous communities.
Indigenous.
Home Depot must prohibit all federal immigration agencies access to their stores and parking lots.
I mean, these protesters, they don't even know what they're advocating for. An indigenous community, that would totally exclude the idea that people can come here from halfway around the world, embed themselves in your community, and what, they're now indigenous? Plus, they want Home Depot to fight ICE with them? This is just absolutely crazy. But it gets even worse because federal agents were recently approaching a flower district, and they were on a targeted enforcement operation, and when activists saw their trucks pull up, they attacked. They started throwing things at the agents. You can see it here on video. You've got this massive crowd of people that just could be anywhere waiting to go after the good guys when they try to arrest the bad guys.
CHP standing by the freeway off-ramps, the group staying on the bridge for a while, but eventually moving on to Boyle Heights. In Koreatown, meanwhile,
and give us courage for the fight ahead.
Blessings at another rally. Coalition of groups, including the tenants union, marching peacefully with the message.
We're here to support the jornaleros, the vendors, and all the immigrants in Los Angeles, and making sure that we retake these streets, we protect each other. This is the only way that that we're finding our safety. So we're making community, we're reaching out to our neighbors, and protecting each other.
And we're back here live again. This group here getting ready to march. They're going to go around Boyle Heights. Everything has been very peaceful all day. These people are...
Don't you just love how the same people who at night are at a hotel room where federal agents are and are just harassing them, or who are out there at a flower shop throwing rocks at police vehicles, are so willing to just get on camera and tell the news, look at how peaceful we are. It's 11 o'clock in the morning and oh, we're so peaceful. Nobody at night is out there saying that they're peaceful. You ever realize that? And the only people who do say that they're peaceful on camera when it's nighttime just so happen to be saying it against a backdrop of an entire police force who didn't show up at that location for no reason. And that's the myth about peaceful protests, and the myth that they've got anything to do with peace, because even though it might be the morning or the early afternoon, these people are out there chanting about how they're going to retake their streets and how they won't be intimidated and how you can't lock us all up at once. What they're doing is cultivating an extreme hatred of law enforcement and America. I mean, just look at this person's flag. Does that mean we can't have peaceful protests? No, but if the message isn't peaceful, eventually the protesters won't be peaceful either. And while they're not being peaceful, legitimate businesses are being totally wiped out. You've got frightening levels of crime happening that are incredibly sophisticated, and it's all over the news, yet nobody's talking about it. What do you think about that? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.